The evidence seems to indicate that you're watching dolly fishing.
Jumping up, dolly beaches dreaming real. True crime scene blast feel so unreal. YouTube madness like share, subscribe. Chats on fire, burning the world fire. Where's the baby missing shadows crawl? People whisper footsteps down the hall. Fingerprints of the dead, cold as stone. He's got the scoop, best around town known. Dolly vision headlines, king the beat. Truth unravels, crackling through the heat. Lost soul shouting, echoes in the night. Rock the truth while live on air light. Jumping up, dolly visions dreaming real. True crime scene blast feel so unreal. YouTube madness like share, subscribe. Chats on fire, burning the world fire. Where's the baby missing shadows crawl? People whisper footsteps down the hall. Fingerprints of the dead, cold as stone. He's got the scoop, best around town known. Dolly vision headlines, king the beat. Truth unravels, crackling through the heat. Lost soul shouting, echoes in the night. Rock the truth while live on air light.
It is time to rise and shine, YouTube. What is up? Good morning, my beautiful people. Okay, this morning, I haven't done a lot of streams in the morning in a good while. But this morning, we're talking about the Texas flash floods. 51 confirmed dead. 15 of those are children. And the hunt continues today for hopefully more survivors. Okay, there's 27 missing kids from the Mystic campground that's still unaccounted for. It's still a little early in Texas, but hopefully today is the day that they make some rescues and some of these kids and other people are found. Now, there's a lot of people that went missing from a mobile home park, RV park, where completely their whole RVs were washed away. It literally looked like somebody dropped a big ass water bomb on this RV park. And of course, the things these kids went through at this campground, the stories are coming out completely unbelievable. But first, there ain't many of y'all here this morning. I'm usually got a late night crew. So I'm going to need each and every one of you. Do me a quick favor. Hit the like button. If you're super cool, share it on your Facebook. If not, not a big deal. If you're brand new out there, make sure you sub up. Ring the bell for notifications. We're not too far from 71,000 people. I'm on my path to 100K. I'm trying to hit it by the end of the year, hopefully. But if not, it's not the end of the world. But I can't do it without the help of each and every one of you guys out there sharing the videos, liking the videos, telling your granny to come watch Dolly. Most of you may be grannies. I don't know. I don't ID at the door. I don't ID. But it's all good. I'm just glad y'all can be here with me. And this shows me right here that none of you guys were at least caught up in these Texas floods. Now, if you don't know what happened, I'm going to break it down for you. Since Central Texas, Carrsville, all right, or KERRVILLE, however you quite say it. I'm not from Texas. And well, there's some campgrounds by the name of Mystic Campground, and it sits right on the edge of the Guadalupe River. Hopefully I said that right. I didn't murder it too bad. Guadalupe, Guadalupe. I don't know. I always mess it up, but one of those damn rivers, right? Guadalupe. Now I said it wrong. Guadalupe River. All right. So you're Granny. Okay. Well, welcome, Granny. Good to have you. So apparently, now there's mixed statements coming out about this because I believe certain people are not trying to take the blame for this tragedy that happened, and they're saying the warnings went out late. Now they gave a warning at 1:30 in the morning, which these campgrounds most were filled with kids and counselors, and most of these people were asleep at a decent hour. Most people are not up at 1 a.m. unless you're Dolly. Okay, then you're up because you're a night owl. But most people ain't up that late at night. Some people ain't even up this early in the morning. So I guess the warning went on deaf's ears and they didn't hear it. Well, around 4 o'clock, they put out another warning, severe warning. But by this time, the river had rose by 30 feet. Now, some people say it rose by 30 feet in 30 minutes. Some people say an hour. Some people say 90 minutes. And I've heard up to 4 or 5 hours. One man even said it rose to his deck in less than 15 minutes. And his deck sits 24 foot off the ground on a hill. So 30 feet up almost. And he said that river rose in 15 minutes, 30 feet. Now, all of this because of a little bit of rain fell. It just crazy storm. Some people are saying it's a once in 100-year storm. Other people are saying, hey, there was a storm like this in the 80s and it was just as bad. A lot of people, or late, yeah, it was the 80s, 87, I believe. And a bunch of people died. There was flooding like that. So that ain't quite 100 years ago. But even then, news said 26 inches in 30 minutes. Yes, news have been reporting a lot of different things. A lot of people are complaining about the alerts that went out, you know, especially in these rural areas where there's not great cell phone reception. People are in bed, you know, and a lot of people didn't get these alerts. It's almost in a situation like this when you're near the river, they need to sound an air horn and, of course, have deputies out going to these places trying to get these people to evacuate soon as possible. As soon as they know evacuation's needed, they could have had people out there. Listen, shoulda, coulda, woulda, you know, but didn't happen. Right now, we just got to do better at searching and rescuing the people that may still be alive. Already, they're starting to rumor that this is turning into a recovery mission, and there's still a lot of people missing. If everybody's presumed dead, we're talking almost up to 100 people caught in this flood, and 27 are kids. Already, death toll in kids alone is 15, and there's a lot of kids missing. There's a lot of parents that are posting pictures of their kids, asking anybody for help with any clues, or anybody hears anything or sees these kids. You know, of course, there's a lot of worried parents. So we're just going to go over some of the live coverage this morning of what's going on as it happens with you guys. Let me share this video.
That's here. It is, again, pitch black, but we have seen some of the crews that have been working, driving back from deeper in on Highway 39 back into Ingram. And let's show you a little bit here with the other camera that we're seeing here. Again, like you said, this is day 3. We know that Navy aircraft have been called in to help to search at night, because a lot of the times the other crews, they just don't have the equipment.
Yeah, but they wasn't expecting that, Mike B.
In this kind of darkness. Just under 1,000 crews are on the ground still rescuing, recovery efforts, all of this ongoing. Now, as we mentioned, the recovery is ongoing right now. The cleanup right here in this area, we can actually see it. Some of the trees have been cut into half. Some of the debris has been moved to the side, but it is still a pretty devastated area. We also know that assistance is coming into some of the victims, and we know that there's also mental health services that are being provided to some of the folks here, because listen to what it was like as that wall of water was getting closer to them. I got a chance to talk to them. Listen to this.
It was just like a jet engine coming down.
I got some warnings on my phone and stuff, but I really didn't pay attention to it until 5:30 when my daughter called and said that my son's mother-in-law was trapped in her house. And so I got up and went outside, and it was almost to the back fence then.
The rain's coming up the road. Come on, get up, get out, get out. So that's the first time anybody did
Look
that.
at that.
So I got out right away.
Yeah, as you heard that, it was just that wall that was coming in that tore through the town of Hunt. This is the first look that we're showing you this morning of what this looks like. You could see that crews have been working nonstop. You could see the piles on the side here.
Yes,
Clearing
Courtney.
the road a lot different, and it's going to continue. These piles of debris are going to continue to grow. We're going to continue to stay out here in the scene this morning. We know that there is a news briefing that is expected later this morning. We, of course, are going to bring that live to you. We'll send it back to you guys.
They just got washed away, and then a few seconds later, the phone went dead, and that's all we know.
This man found a little boy looking
Today,
for his daughter.
recovery efforts are underway, including the search to find all those who are missing because of this flood.
I seen his story last night, and his daughter and her friends had a house, and the whole house got washed away. He went out searching for his daughter, and near the riverbank, he saw what he thought was a mannequin, and it was a small little boy's body that he discovered. I mean, completely heartbreaking, terrible situation. Prayers for our friends and family in Central Texas, KERRVILLE, what is the other, Hill County, all that. Terrible situation.
And as of this morning, family members have identified 12 people who are presumed missing.
And as of right now, 5 of the missing people are among the 27 campers from Camp Mystic who remain unaccounted for, including this girl right here, Kellyanne Lytle. Her father shared this photo of her with us, and she was at Camp Mystic and unfortunately has not been located.
Also missing from Camp Mystic is Eloise Peck and Lila Bonner. Their relatives have identified them as well. Also missing is Greta Toronzo. Family members
Poor little kids
are asking you to call that number on your screen if you have any information about her.
So the 5th girl that we know
KERRVILLE
is missing from Camp Mystic is Blakely McCrory. The phone number, again, right there on your screen that you see, is call
Hunt,
for
Texas.
information on missing people, and that is 830-258-1111.
And families, they want to know if anyone has seen these people on your screen. They are all from Beaumont, and they are Kelly High School grads. They're all about 22 years old. Their names are Ella Cahill, Aiden Hartfield, Joyce Baden, and Reese Menchaca. They were in a house in Hunt that got swept away on
the whole house
Highway
gone.
39. On your screen now, you see in the corner there is that QR code where we have a list of several other missing people. Their families are asking anyone with any information
Guadalupe
please reach out.
River. Thank
My
you.
instruction to every state agency involved in this is to assume everybody who is missing is alive, and there's a need for speed. Not just every hour, every minute counts.
That was just a snippet of a much longer press conference held by Governor Greg Abbott yesterday discussing the response to these floods.
So he has also issued a proclamation declaring today a day of prayer throughout the state for the people
Guadalupe.
impacted by the floods.
Okay, thank
In
you.
a statement, the governor says in part,
Guadalupe.
quote, even as flood waters raged, neighbors rushed in to rescue, comfort, and bring hope. In times of loss, we turn to God for comfort, healing, and strength. I urge every Texan to join me in this prayer this Sunday. President and several other state leaders, including Senator Ted Cruz and John Cornyn, have also offered their support at this time.
Also, later this morning at 11 a.m., San Antonio Archbishop Gustavo Garcia Sierra will be in Kerrville at the Notre Dame Church, which is
I was calling
currently
it
serving as
KERRVILLE.
one of the
It's KERRVILLE.
reunification shelters
Okay,
for those
KERRVILLE.
impacted by these floods. He will be celebrating over the Mass there. In recent days, he has also visited the affected families to offer prayers, comfort, and support.
Well, at this time right now, we're looking at 609, 76 degrees outside.
Coming up on GMSA, reunification efforts still
That is
underway,
terrible.
where people are being asked to go and the help they can find there. Plus, another look at the damage as it stands this morning. Sarah Spivey is going to give us the latest. We are still under flood watch, much of our viewing area, including the hill country, till 1 p.m. She is going to tell us all about that when we come back. As reunification centers, there are 2 set up, one at Ingram Elementary School and one at Arcadia Live, that's in Kerrville. We are updating this information as we learn more about it, and we'll have more information on the floods and a look at the recovery today in just a few minutes. We'll be right back.
How many commercials you need?
Good morning, Robert.
Good morning. Search and rescue still remains the priority, but with that comes dealing with the piles of debris that are clogging so much of Kerr County. I'll give you an example. As searchers are going through, they're having to do that very methodical search along the riverbank, but then there's also a lot of structures that have piles of debris that have to be searched. That's why this process is going to be days before it is complete. And I'll give you an example here in Hunt. The river, the Guadalupe River, is probably a couple hundred yards that way, yet it pushed debris like piles of debris like this.
He said Guadalupe River. Everybody says it a little tiny bit different, all the newscasters. And now I know it's not Carrsville, it's Kerrsville.
This far into the town of Hunt. And if you walk over here with me into this structure, which I think is a short-term rental, you can see just how much the water came through as it pushed through, and it pushed all the way inside through this garage. Search and rescue crews have to go through all of this. They have to pick through all of this to make absolutely certain that there is not a survivor potentially trapped in some of this debris. And that's why, again, it's going to take a very long time, several days, to continue this search and rescue effort. We do know that the state of Texas has more than 1,300 people, and that's on top of the local first responders and federal first responders that are here going through. And what they had said, that they had started about a mile north of Camp Mystic along the Guadalupe River, and then they're working their way down. Again, it's going to take several days for that process to be complete. Once the sun comes up, we're expecting to start seeing those search crews move back into the area. A lot of that equipment had to be parked because in the dark, it becomes an incredibly difficult task to go through all of this, to go through this debris, do it safely, and make sure nothing gets missed. So again, we'll start seeing that explosion of activity just like we did yesterday as soon as the sun comes up, which should be in about another 30 minutes. And we will be here for that, and we will continue updating you on those efforts throughout the day. We are live in Hunt. Robert Arnold, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Robert. And I just want to point out on the map where Robert is, just west of Kerrville here. Here's Hunt, here's Ingram. Of course, we are dealing with some light rain in the area, but the reason for this flooding was the 10+ inches of rain that fell in this area, up to 12 inches or a foot of rain falling.
That ain't even that much rain.
And just a reminder that the Guadalupe River in those areas rose by about 30 feet, up to 30 feet on July 4th, the morning.
Wow.
4:35, 29-foot crest of the Guadalupe River in Hunt, 23-foot crest just 10 minutes later in Kerrville, and it continued to crest near Comfort at 11 a.m. at 35 feet, and Ammons Crossing south of Bergheim, 50 feet by the evening of July 4th, before finally starting to end its crest near Spring Branch early yesterday morning and entering into Canyon Lake. That being said, there is still a very large stream flow along the Guadalupe River. The river is now not flooding, but take a look at the stream flow here.
She said Guadalupe too. I guess, you know, if you're not from Texas, you're going to pronounce it a little bit different. Especially when you're a hillbilly like Dolly, you're probably going to screw it all up. But this is just a basic tragedy. You know, it's crazy that the water rose that much from 1 foot of rain, not even 10 inches, 11 inches of rain, and the water rose 30 feet. That is insane.
We've got a stream flow at Spring Branch of the Guadalupe of
Guadalupe.
3,370 cubic feet per second. That's a volume of water rushing through Spring Branch right now. On average, it's only 127 cubic feet per second. And Canyon Lake is catching a lot of this water. However, yesterday we saw a ton of rain along this south part of downstream part from Canyon Lake along the Guadalupe River from New Braunfels down to Seguin. Take a look at the stream flow of the Guadalupe River at Seguin right now, close to 4,000 cubic feet per second. So if you are anywhere around the Guadalupe, yes, the floodwaters have receded. The river is not physically very high and causing damage in that way, but the water is flowing very fast at a dangerous clip. So you do not want to let your guard down around that river. Let's go ahead and take a look at the authority radar right now. You can see that we do have some areas of light to moderate rainfall.
Yeah, right, LA.
Between Bernie and Bandera, and then out near Uvalde. This is indicative of the fact that we still have that pesky low pressure system right overhead that has been causing
sandbags
wouldn't
have done nothing.
The last 24 hours. There's that low. It has started to meander west, so it's actually moving a little bit more than it has since July 4th. But with that low overhead and with abundant,
they should have been a little more prepared. I'm not trying to blame it on the government, but you know, listen, hindsight's 2020. What's happened has happened. But we need to learn from this and make sure things like this don't happen again. You know, them areas should have air horns. They should have people that go out to them campsites, especially with kids, being that many kids there in one location to help evacuate. I'm hearing that 911 was hanging up on people. That story came out. That is not acceptable. So yes, they could have done better. These officials, they're trying not to take no blame far as the announcements and how people are notified, especially when most people are in bed at 1:30 in the morning. It's hard to get a notification when you're drooling on your pillow.
It will likely result in flooding. 85 for the high here.
Thank you, Leanne.
What about the lakes? I mentioned Canyon Lake.
Leanne's the first one on the Dolly train today. Buckle up. And Connie. Hey, Connie. Good morning to you.
That a lot of that river water is flowing into Canyon Lake. Take a look at this. Canyon Lake is up 10 feet since July 4th, but it's still only 50% full. Medina Lake Reservoir was only 2%
Thank you
full.
for
Now
scrubbing.
It's 1.3% full, but it's still 86 feet below that conservation pool. Looking at your 7-day forecast, it's going to be a few more days here where we have to be on alert for the potential for rain through at least Wednesday. We have a chance for showers and storms, but we'll be drying out by Thursday into the weekend, and then it's just going to be hot and humid, guys.
All right, Sarah, thanks so much. Right now we're looking at 623, 76 degrees outside.
Still ahead on GMSA. Recovery efforts are underway. How you can get involved to help.
Look at that. It just wiped through the trees like it was nothing. Like it was nothing.
Some ways that you can help from here. San Antonio Pets Alive launching an emergency donation drive to support both Kerrville Pets Alive and the many families affected. Organization is accepting donations of both pet supplies and
the $2 drive is alive. Okay, we're gassing up the train. $2 a whop. We almost got enough gas in it to start it.
2 locations you see at your screen, which is the San Antonio Pets Alive location on
They
Marbach,
took her channel down, just
Level
peachy.
Urgent Care in San Antonio on Bulverde Road.
For a full list of ways that you can help, that QR code that you see on your screen, get up and scan it. You're going to see a full list. It's going to take you directly to ksat.com.
All right, it's 627 and 76 degrees.
Still ahead on GMSA, we got more ways that you can help the recovery efforts in Kerrville and Hill Country, and a live look at what's being done right now to help the area.
Damn commercials, man.
This information as we get it, including those who are still missing and the numbers of lives lost. So a quick recap of what we know So far about the flood damage in Kerr County, at least 43 people are dead. 28 of them are adults. 15 of them are children. An unknown number of people remain unaccounted for. 12 adults and 5 children have not been identified.
Just peachy. I don't know the circumstances at all, so I don't know if that's what it's about or something else. I'm not quite sure.
County, and you want to report them missing, you need to call the number that you see on your screen, which is 830-258-1111. Make sure you tell them that your loved one's last known location. Obviously, something that we're going to be staying on top of all day. And meteorologist Sarah Spivey staying on top of the rain conditions that we're having today.
Right. We do have some light rain ongoing in places around the hill country.
Yeah, that's right. And it is helping us get a better sense of what exactly took place here, the devastation. And we're trying to make sense on our own how this river was moving.
Good morning.
You can see the pile of debris that is pushed up against the fence. Just further beyond is the South Fork of the Guadalupe River. And our guess is that that's what was swelling up, pushing all of this debris. You could see
Anybody want to buy a kayak
on there. You could see a lot of wood and a lot of
and a car slightly
of
used,
trees and bushes, but then you also see a lot of things like what appears to be someone's bed or a piece of furniture here. But this is all just a glimpse into the type of search that crews will have to dig through, not only to find out answers, but also possibly to find bodies that are somewhat
so
between
sad
here and a few miles down on the Guadalupe River. But, there is also hope this morning. Today is Sunday. A lot of people will be going out to church.
Soccer
Just
coach and his
about
wife.
a block away from here is an untouched church, Hunt United Methodist. There's a sign that says, please come. There is church today. And that is a kind of hope that we're seeing in this community as well. I know I've had personally a lot of people reach out to me and say, how can we help people that are not from this community in San Antonio and in other communities that are watching this and want to be involved in some way? We know we have a QR code. If we could show that, producer, put that QR code of where you can go to ksat.com to find the latest groups that are doing, they're gathering gloves and trash bags and cleaning supplies. And we have, I know, full coffee house and the disaster recovery supply drive that is being put together by Cross Kingdom Church. That is happening. One of those events is happening at Hemisphere today and tomorrow. And of course, there's also money. People maybe they can't donate or they can't donate items, but they want to be able to help, and they want that money to go directly to the people impacted. All of that information we have right now on ksat.com. And as you said, Japhanie, the sun is coming up, so we're going to get a better sense of what this area looks like. This is an area that I was not able to access, but we're seeing it for the first time with you this morning. We'll send it back to you guys.
Patty, thank you so much. And while families are on pins and needles waiting to hear any update about their missing loved ones, we are hearing stories of heroism. People putting their lives on the line to save others.
One of those individuals is Dick Eastland. He was known to so many in the Hill Country. He was the owner and director of Camp Mystic. It is a private Christian summer camp for girls we've been talking about this entire time. Unfortunately, he passed away because of this tragedy. And one of his family members wrote on Facebook that Eastland died trying to save the campers.
Make sure y'all hit that like, guys.
Article on their website about
Thank
it.
you, Susan.
Writer Paige Sumner wrote about Dick, quote, "It doesn't surprise me at all.
You're the best.
His last act of kindness and sacrifice was working to save the lives of campers. He already saved so many lives with the gift of Camp Mystic." And the community is also mourning several lives that were lost as a result of these floods.
We're still learning more this morning. Humble ISD posted late last night that they are grieving the loss of their staff member, Jeff Wilson. This right here is the post on their social media, states that he worked for 30 years at both Humble High School and Kingwood Park High School.
So
it also
sad.
states that Jeff's
A lot of good people.
brother-in-law says that his wife Amber and son Shiloh still considered missing.
And Tybee boys soccer coach Reese Zunker and his wife Paula were among those who died, and the school confirmed that Reese and Paula and his wife Paula have been found dead.
The school is saying that this about Reese, quote,
Terrible.
Coach Reese Zunker was not just a soccer coach. He was a mentor, teacher, and a role model for our Kerrville kids. At this time, no word about their children who are still missing.
This Facebook page confirms that a camp director, Jane Ragsdale, is dead. So she was the director at Heart of Hills Camp. The camp was not in session at the time of the floods.
It's terrible, terrible news right there. We got another area that has been seriously impacted in Center Point, Texas, where floods caused routes and roads to be closed down.
Our Zaria Oates brings us an update on the situation out there.
We're out in Center Point, Texas, which is downstream southeast of the Kerrville area where those horrific floods came through on July 4th. Right now, we're standing on FM 480, which is a bridge that's actually closed because of some severe flooding that happened in this area. The floodwaters actually rose above this bridge, so much so that this is the debris that we're seeing, the damage on top of a bridge. If you can look down here, there are tree branches, tree bark, also weeds pulled up from the ground. And then there's also some rocks here, and that's because the actual banks of this river down there are covered in rocks and seashells. So all of that was brought up here above the bridge level. Now we are working to figure out what are the next steps with first responders. I actually spoke with both the Kerrville Police Department and the Texas Game Wardens. Here's what they have to say.
And the search is ongoing. We are still searching and rescuing folks throughout the night, and that will continue.
We broke down the river by sections, starting near the Hunt area. We identified 16 sections, and we broke it up by teams and worked through conducting primary searches through those areas.
We're working as hard as we can to find people and return them to their families.
217 likes.
Until we do that.
Let's get
Search
it up.
and rescue missions will continue throughout today and then, of course, throughout the week.
Good morning, guys.
We're praying for the families affected by the flooding here in Center Point, in Kerrville, and all throughout the Hill Country. In Center Point, I'm Zaria Oates.
Zaria, thank you so much. It is 6:40 and 76 degrees.
Still ahead on GMSA, recovery efforts are underway across the Hill Country. How the community is getting involved.
And outside the live cam, it is a dry start to the day here in San Antonio, but we
air and even on horseback. All of Texas has answered the call to find survivors in the Hill Country. Hundreds of rescue crews continue their search along the Guadalupe River.
KPRC's Gage Goulding with our sister station in Houston was in Kerrville, and he saw firsthand how people are stepping up to help save lives.
Search crews are using every single resource that they have available in their toolbox. They are dealing with some of the most difficult and rugged terrain. On Saturday, throughout our journey in Kerr County, we ran into many search crews that are doing just that. They are trying to find survivors. But for at least two of the crews that we met up with, they found victims of this flooding here in the Hill Country.
I just haven't felt the urge to do something like this and felt the fight or flight since I was at war in the military.
Everyone has their own reason, their own drive to help.
Well, so the family has
306.
They know where they're missing. They're not missing. They know where they're at. They know they were found.
Here, we call that Texans helping Texans. And by the hundreds, they came out in the Hill Country to find their neighbors, their friends, people from the next town or two over.
Odds are it hasn't been searched, so we're going to give our efforts, and yeah, well, hopefully it turns out something positive.
Garrett Hugo and his buddy paddling up the Guadalupe River. They started here in Center Point, getting a unique perspective of the now torn up riverbanks that twist and turn through these small communities.
Look at that 18-wheeler.
Survivors. I'm looking for unfortunate non-survivors, so
thank you,
they can have
Daisy.
a final resting place.
On the banks, people hiking, looking in the now gigantic piles of tree trunks and torn up trucks that litter the river. In the sky, helicopters are scanning for anything that might lead them to answers. And on horseback, volunteers are bringing those answers to families.
We decided we should look in that spot a little bit more before we went back down, and that's when we found it.
So the girl that was with us was like, I feel like we need to really look, like I'm drawn to this tree, and
sure enough,
she was right.
I walked up and he was kind of hesitant. He looked down and there she was. Different, yeah, it takes a while to process it.
We covered her with a towel.
That's the reality of what our first responders and volunteers are seeing.
Wow.
It's incredibly hard and emotional, but when they find closure for a family.
I can't imagine.
Right. We were just talking about that. That is like something that is terrifying to experience and walk up on.
Well, but it's also, I mean, they are doing such good, difficult work out there, and giving these families closure. And I mean, it's God's work at this point, you know, what they're doing. And I applaud all of, not just the first responders, but the volunteers like them going out and doing their part. And Sarah, you know, today we are still concerned about the Hill Country under flood watch through the afternoon.
That's right. We can't let our guard down because that same low pressure system that has been bringing flooding is still overhead. Now, as of 6:45 this morning, you can see that we've got some light rain falling in the Hill Country. This itself is not going to cause flooding, but I want you to pay close attention to the motion of these. They're very, very slow. So once again, as we get closer and closer to the afternoon, that search. So thank you, and we'll definitely keep an eye on it throughout the day.
6:51 right now, 76 degrees outside and still ahead on teachers and facilities to charge their devices. It will be at Schreiner University, and people can't access it from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Again, that starts today. Yesterday at her concert, Colombian singer, songwriter Shakira dedicated her performance at the Alamo Dome to the victims of the deadly Hill Country floods. She also said that she would donate a portion of those proceeds from her July 5th concert to support the flood recovery effort, with the money to go towards the Catholic Charities of San Antonio, who is also providing disaster relief to families impacted by the floods. In a post, Shakira also invited her fans to join her in donating to the organization through its website. Right now, I'm going to continue to follow and track all the ways that you can help, as well as our team coverage with crews out in the field as we speak this morning. At this time, it is 6:56, 76 degrees outside. We'll be right back.
Guadalupe flowing into Canyon Lake there.
Over yet.
That's right. We'll be back on air in just a bit after this break as we continue this coverage of the devastating and deadly Hill Country floods.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then, holy stuff started to hit the walls. And my wife jumped up and looked out the back porch, and it was a river.
Scott Walden and his wife say the water came in so fast there was no time to evacuate.
By the time I went to get my keys to move my truck out of the way, to just back up across the street, the water had risen and flooded my truck. The water got up there in the door about this high. And I looked at my wife, and it was like, we need to get out of here.
That water too strong and fast, sweeping them down the river.
We went ahead and jumped out, and we got washed down 3 houses, and we finally ended up snagged on a big bush. So we hung onto the bush until we got rescued.
They hung onto a crepe myrtle tree for about 30 minutes before they were rescued by police officers who formed a human chain.
We were kind of going, hey, hope this isn't it.
Walden says they are grateful to be alive, saying his destroyed home and cars are just material things.
Yeah, this is just stuff.
Neighbor Irma Cantu says they live a couple of houses over, fortunate their home is safe and they were able to evacuate quick enough. Feeling overwhelmed.
A feeling of sadness because, I mean, even the people that were here weren't expecting this to happen.
As they pick up the pieces and continue to look for neighbors and loved ones, she hopes it's a time where the community can stand strong.
Helping each other this is when we need to come together and help each other out.
Sarah Costa, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you for gifting that membership.
Okay, so I'm just
and thank you,
watching,
Rose.
the City of Kerrville City Hall Facebook page, and there are 2 things. If you're sitting at home and wondering what you can do, there are 2 things that you can do. So there
God bless
is,
Kate Myrtle.
From KSAT 12, Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
2 days of devastating flooding, hundreds of rescues, and dozens of lives lost. That is the reality of the community of Kerr County and the Hill Country that they are still grappling with this morning.
So those waters washing away homes and vehicles, leaving behind a trail of mud, debris, and questions. At this time, at least 43 people are dead, 28 of them adults. 15, sadly, are children.
Wow.
An unknown number of people remain unaccounted for. They got 12 adults and 5 children have not been identified at this time.
Plus, hundreds of rescues still taking place at this hour. Crews are still out on the ground looking for their
Rosemary,
loved ones.
thank
If
you, Rosemary.
are looking for a family member in Kerr County and you want to report them missing, you see that number at the bottom of your screen. You can call it 830-258-1111. Make sure you tell them your loved one's last known location. Sarah Spivey, that ground is very saturated, like you've been saying all morning, and we're still under flood watch.
We are under a flood watch, meaning we're watching out for the potential for flooding. There's no flash flood warnings in our area, which is good news right now. However, you'll notice in the hill country, there's a little bit of light rain falling. That's all.
In a clear view of what things are looking like today. Patty, good morning.
Hey there, good morning. And we have seen a lot in the last 2 days, but every time you are just in awe of how Mother Nature could be so destructive. And, this is only day 3. This is going to be a marathon recovery. This is what first responders and what crews that are coming in to help are looking at. You're seeing a picture right now of a car that was flipped upside down. All of this, the debris all over this area, all of this has to be carefully looked at and moved over, and emergency crews have to make sure that these are clear, that there are no bodies here. This really has moved into more of a recovery effort rather than a rescue effort. But you are seeing in the last picture right now of just the tons and tons of debris, and this goes on for miles. We know that we have a lot of crews that are out here that are helping, but it's going to take a very long time to clean up and for this community to get itself back together.
Thank you for
had a chance to talk to one of the residents. He told me, he was here helping folks out on Friday morning, and now he's just asking anybody who wants to help, bring chainsaws, but very important, don't get in the way. And that is one of the things that emergency crews are also saying, please, they're still working here while the recovery, the cleanup, and the assistance to victims and the mental health services are coming in so that they can process the traumatic stress that they experience. I got a chance to talk to some of the folks here who told me what it was like when that wall of water was coming in. Take a listen.
In one of the trailers, it was horrible. There was a lady screaming, but like you say, it was dark. So all you could see was the trouble and the cracking and breaking apart.
I am scared to death right now for everybody. And there's an RV park at the end of this place that's down in that gully that I'm worried about all those people. Did they get out in time? Did they have enough warning? I don't know.
And we know that 27 people are missing, 27 girls from Camp Mystic, but emergency responders don't know how many more people are missing. That is why they're asking the community, if you know that there was someone that that was here, if you know their last location, you are asked to give them a call. And of course, we have all that information on our website right now on ksat.com. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
They just got washed away. And then a few seconds later, the phone went dead, and that's all we know.
Today, recovery efforts underway, including the search to find all those who are missing because of this deadly flood. As of this morning, family members have identified 12 people who are presumed missing.
And as of right now, 5 of the missing people are among the 27 campers from Camp Mystic who remain unaccounted for, including this girl right here, Kellyanne Lytle. Her father shared this photo of her with us, and she was at Camp Mystic, and she has not been located as we speak.
Also missing from Camp Mystic is Eloise Peck and Lila Bonner. Relatives have identified them as well. Another missing is Greta Toronzo. Family members are asking you to call that number you see on your screen there if you have any information about her.
So the 5th girl that we know who is missing from Camp Mystic is Blakely McCrory. The phone number you see right there on your screen is a call for information on the missing people, and that number is 830-258-1111.
And a family wants to know if you've seen any of these people on your screen. They are all from Beaumont. They are Kelly High School grads. They're all about 22 years old. Their names are Ella Cahill, Aiden Hartfield, Joyce Baden and Reese Menchaca. They were in a house in Hunt when they got swept away. That house was right off of Highway 39. On your screen is a QR code in the corner there where we have a list of several other missing people. Their families are asking anyone with any information to please reach out.
My instruction to every state agency involved in this is to assume everybody who is missing is alive. And there's a need for speed. Not just every hour, every minute counts.
And that was just a snippet of a pretty long press conference held by Governor Greg Abbott yesterday afternoon discussing the response to these floods.
Now, he has also issued a proclamation declaring today a day of prayer throughout the state for the people impacted by the floods. In a statement, the governor says, in part, quote, even as flood waters raged, neighbors rushed in to rescue, comfort, and bring hope. In times of loss, we turn to God for comfort, healing, and strength. I urge every Texan to join me in prayer this Sunday. The president and several other state leaders, including Senator Ted Cruz and John Cornyn, have also offered their support at this time.
Later this morning at 11 a.m., San Antonio Archbishop Gustavo Garcia Sierra will be in Kerrville at Notre Dame Church, which is currently serving as one of the reunification shelters for those impacted by these floods. He will be presiding and celebrating the Mass there. In recent days, he has also visited the affected families to offer prayers, comfort, and support.
And we are expected to get updates on the recovery efforts later today, in just a few hours, actually. There will be two press conferences today, one at 10 a.m. and the other at 3 p.m. And of course, we will be sure to update you on whatever comes out of them as soon as possible.
712 this morning, 76 degrees.
Coming up on GMSA, reunification efforts still underway, where people are being asked to go and the help that they can find there. Plus, we got another look at the damage as it stands this morning.
It is quiet around San Antonio and even around the hill country. There's just
So Texas is 1 hour behind me. Okay. So it is 7:15 in Texas right now. And of course, where I'm at, it is 8:15 on the East Coast, Eastern Standard Time. So, wow. The devastation looks terrible. It seems now they're talking about their Central Time that it's a recovery mission. And, you know, usually in recovery missions, they're searching for bodies. So, and I guess they've searched the trees, you know, with infrared and flare technology, drones and things like that. And I guess they've gotten everybody out of the trees, but that don't mean somebody couldn't be buried under a pile of stuff. And, you know, hopefully they find more survivors. But this is absolutely terrible situation. Like I said, prayers to all these families. We still got at least 27 kids missing. And at this point, it's not looking good.
Many areas as we can from these deadly hill country floods.
Robert Arnold with our sister station KPRC in Hunt as we speak. Now, Robert, you've been there this entire weekend. How are things looking right now?
There's still a tremendous amount of debris because, and this is going to stay here for a while, because search and rescue is still the priority. One of the things that the search and rescue officials are trying to get their hands around is the total number of missing. They still do not have that number. Yes, we have the number of the young ladies who are missing from Camp Mystic, but that's not the total number of people missing during this flood. In fact, I was speaking with the Kerrville city manager, Dolan Rice, and he was saying they're not even going to try and put a number on that yet because you had so many people in town for the 4th of July.
Thank you.
They do not know yet how many people are actually missing. That's why they continue to pour search and rescue resources into this area. Matter of fact, we started seeing some of the heavy equipment move back in to try and move some of this debris around as it's being searched. That's the difficult part about this, is not only do you have the riverbank in the dense underbrush of the riverbank that's clogged with debris from that wall of water that moved through the area, but you also have piles of debris like this that have to be searched. You have to go through every little bit of this to make sure that there is no one trapped in here. So this is going to be a several-day effort. There's also the twofold problem of search and rescue and those coming back to businesses, homes destroyed, in trying to start that rebuilding process. The city said while it's focusing on search and rescue, it is having to acknowledge it's going to have to go through and check which buildings are structurally sound, which buildings are going to have to be red tagged condemned because they are not structurally sound and cannot be rebuilt. So there is a tremendous amount of heartache ahead for all of the people here in Kerr County, and some of the troops coming in as we speak. But again, it's going to be a several-day process to complete that search and rescue effort. And then there is the process of rebuilding this community. Reporting live from Hunt, Robert Arnold, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Robert. And again, please be alert because flood watch continues even in that area until 1 p.m. today, meaning we're watching out for additional flooding. And here's the reason why. That pesky low pressure system that has been meandering around Texas is still here. And it is capable, as we have seen, of producing these rain bombs where you just deal with rain sitting in one place, torrential downpours. Now, the good news is that low has started to move a little bit, and that is more motion than we've seen on that low for quite some time. And just look at the devastation that this low pressure system and the Gulf moisture has brought to Texas. Look at the rainfall since July 1st. Now, you can see it wasn't just the Kerr County area that dealt with all of the rain too. Areas east of Marble Falls estimating
they have saved hundreds of people. Now, the thing is, they don't know how many people's really missing because people go down to the river for 4th of July and are celebrating. So a lot of people come from out of town. So they don't really know everybody that's completely missing yet. The death toll could rise by a lot. We have at least 27 kids missing. We're already at 51, and 15 of those are kids. It's definitely not good. Last you heard about 1,000 rescued. Well, under different conditions, out of water. I know there was one rescue unit that rescued 168 people on their first run that day, right? So they spent the day and they rescued 168 people. So a lot of people have been rescued, but there's still a lot of people unaccounted for. Last night they had rescued over 800 people, and they have almost 1,000 searchers out there searching the riverbanks, boats, helicopters, everything. So a lot of people saved, but a lot of people still unaccounted for. And this is a pretty bad tragedy. Unexpected. I mean, it's hard to say unexpected, but they didn't think the rain would be this bad. They knew a storm was coming. The government's trying to blame it on the National Weather Service. But, they just give you a prediction. It's each city's and town and county's job to alert their people, right? And to help evacuate and have 911 services available. And it just seems like the storm hit so fast that all of that broke down in a matter of minutes, and 911 allegedly was hanging up on people. There's a guy that cut his arm breaking a window and he was bleeding out, and his fiance was calling 911 and they were hanging up on her. She said she called over 11 times. They told her help would be on the way and help never came. So, but you got to remember, when things get unpassable, we can't put our first responders, ambulance and fire trucks, where they end up getting, unalive from the storm themselves, and then we don't have nobody to save them, and they can't save the people they can save. So it's a tricky situation, but they need to find a better way to alert people, especially in these rural areas. I don't know if they need air horns that go off especially when it's an extreme emergency like it was, critical, that these kids get out. Like, that campground's been around a long time. Everybody, officials in that county and town, they know them kids are near that river. When they knew that river was going to overflow at 1, they should have moved in and got all those kids out of those campgrounds. So did they fail? Yes, they did. They should have did better by those kids, knowing those kids were there. It ain't like they didn't know 800 kids were at that campground. They knew that, right? What did they do to evacuate when it was already too late? This is a sad situation. Okay, we got a commercial right this second. Let's see. Here we go.
A woman is in the hospital after clinging to a tree 15 miles from where floodwaters swept her away.
But it was a homeowner who spotted her from his deck. That led to the emergency crews bringing the woman to safety, and the rest of her family sadly still unaccounted for. But KPRC's Gage Goulding with our sister station in Houston with more on the search for her loved ones in Center Point.
The Guadalupe River looking very different, as if it was just an afternoon shower that fell here. You would never guess just by looking at this river that a wall of water 30 feet deep was running through this riverbed, taking everything and anything with it. A daring rescue in the raging flash flood waters of the Guadalupe River. The now viral moment playing out in Carl Jeter's backyard in Center Point. What did you hear that drew your attention over there? What was she saying?
She was screaming, help, help, help.
Devin Smith has already been hanging on here for hours. She, along with her mom, dad, aunt, uncle, and sister, were camping along the river in Kerrville. The flash flood sweeping all of them away.
She noted that there was a refrigerator that multiple times had taken her under, and debris that kept trying to pull her underwater until she finally was able to get up into the tree.
Told about RVs going by and trees and stuff.
After floating more than 15 miles down the river, somehow Devin grabbing onto this tree, holding on for dear life, until Carl heard her screams and the rescue crews saved her.
That's a miracle.
There's no words. I mean, it's a miracle. She said, I guess God had a better plan for me.
Now to the worst part of this story. All 5 of Devin's family members who were
missing
along the way with her have yet to be found. The rest of her family now joining many across the Texas Hill Country that are left searching for some kind of answer.
Good morning, Donna.
In Center Point, Gage Goulding, KSAT 12 News.
Good morning, Jennifer.
But the good Lord above, they had her in a safe spot.
It's crazy, Japhanie, because when I was out there on Friday, the amount of debris in the middle of the river, and the fact that she went over 15 miles and didn't hit her head or break a limb and was able to get to a tree to safety. I mean, it's truly a miracle.
Yes. So thank God our prayers are definitely going out to her and many other families out there who are still missing loved ones.
We want to get to a list of shelters in Comfort for those affected by the floods. You can go to Comfort High School or the Emmanuel Lutheran Church on High Street.
Now, we're in Kerrville. There are shelters at the Calvary Temple Church, Notre Dame Catholic Church, and then the First United Methodist Church. Of course, those addresses that you see right there on your screen. And we have a list on our information on our website at ksat.com.
As far as reunification centers, there are 2 set up, one at Ingram Elementary School and one at Arcadia Live in Kerrville. So we are updating this information as we learn more, and we'll have more information on the floods and a look at the recovery today in just a few minutes. We'll be right back.
Okay. Crazy situation. Crazy situation.
New Braunfels and then Michigan Avenue.
Salvation Army of Kerrville asking for donations. They're on Hayes Street in Kerrville. Finally, Hemisphere is holding a donation drive downtown today and Monday. You can drop off donations from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
For a full list of ways that you can help, that QR code on your screen, you can scan it. It's going to take you to that list at ksat.com.
All right, continuing our coverage, 726, 76 degrees.
Still ahead on GMSA, more ways that you can find out how you can help to recover efforts in Kerrville and Hill Country. And we got a live look at what's being done right now to help the area.
Okay. So right now we're on commercial break. So definitely a bad situation. But God was looking down on that one girl. She got swept 15 miles downstream, clinged onto a tree. And you heard her say, them say that stuff was pulling her under. She got caught up on a refrigerator a couple times. Other things were snatching her underwater. There was 5 other family members in her house, and she got sucked out the house. Okay. And the other 5 of her family members are not accounted for, and they may not be with us, and can you imagine that? You just sitting around with your whole family enjoying 4th of July, and the next thing you know, the water's done snatched you out the house. And she's lucky. I mean, miracle to be alive. And she even knew it. She said, God must have had a different plan for me. The RV Dolly, they were camping. Well, okay. Well, whatever it may be, they still got sucked into the river. I mean, you end up in the river, you end up in the river. So, and then there's a house missing too. With the whole house got sucked out, and they're missing. The house floated off, and everybody in the house is missing. Matter of fact, we watched a video last night from X of a house floating down the damn road with a whole house full of people in it.
Coming up on 7:30 right now, the community of Kirk County and the Hill Country still recovering.
And we are monitoring the latest information as we get it, including those who are still missing and the number of lives lost. So a quick recap of what we know so far about the damage in Kirk County. At least 43 people are dead.
This is just Kirk County.
Are adults, 15 of them children, and an unknown number of people remain unaccounted for. Now,
237 rescued.
Dead, 12 adults and 5 children have not been identified.
Plus, we have hundreds of rescues have taken place, and at this hour, crews still out. If you're looking for a family member in Kirk County and you want to report them missing, you need to call that number right there, 830-258-1111. Make sure you tell them your loved one's last known location. Meteorologist Sarah Spivey has kind of been giving us a reality check that this is probably not over yet.
No, because we do have a flood watch in place. Now, it's not a guarantee it's going to be flooding in those areas again, but a flood watch means we have to watch out for the possibility of flooding because we've still got that low pressure system overhead. So until
Thank you, Gregory.
at least, I'm thinking it might even get extended. We have additional flooding possible because anywhere.
Thank you so much for jumping on the Dolly train this morning. The Blessed Express. Gregory is riding VIP. Greg for short. Thanks, Greg. Good to have you here this morning. Wish it was under better circumstances and it wasn't this crazy tragedy that's going on in Texas. There's supposed to be a press conference in a little while this morning. Just sad, as light comes up, there's better odds that they'll find more people. Hopefully they find some people alive. I like to hear good, miracle stories, just like the one we heard about the girl. I hope we hear more stories like that and not just more tragedy after more tragedy. So we're going to see. And they're still expecting rain, but nothing like what they had during these flash floods. So that's good news that the people around that area seem to be out of danger, but I bet you everybody's still scared to be near that river because that river in a matter of 30 minutes rose 30 feet. Now, some people say 15, some people say 30, some people say 60, but either way, too damn fast for me. You know what I'm saying? Too damn fast for me. If something's rising that quick and it's rising so fast that you ain't even got time to get away, they don't need no more rain, bro. You're right. They damn sure don't need no more rain. But I don't know if the little bit of rain that they're going to have, it's going to be enough to, something like that to occur again. Just tune in. It is Austin, Texas, touched by this disaster. No, this is pretty much KERRVILLE, Hill County. Where else? Mostly in that area. Yeah, it was 30 feet. Crazy. All right, let's turn volume back
on
up.
Highway 39 on our way into Camp Mystic, and every time we see how the landscape changes and we see how there were areas that are elevated and those areas were not impacted, but the areas like the one we are here,
Hunt County,
this is at a
thank
lower
you.
level, and you can see here, first of all, we see what appears to be a sleeping bag stuck on the side of that fence. Right here, this X, this is very important because it tells us that emergency responders have already come through and they've checked the house to make sure that there was nobody that needed to be rescued or anyone that needed to be recovered from here. But you could see just how devastating. You see cars flipped on their side. We see concrete slabs where we believe there used to be structures, if not homes, that were once there. And then the entire side of houses gone. This one actually looks a lot better than some of the other houses that were in the path of this flood. But we're also hearing a little bit closer from some of the victims, some of the people that were here to help their neighbors. And they say, you know, right now there's a lot of cleanup that they're going to need help with. It's not just today. It's not just this week. It's going to be for the next few months, for the next few years. Take a listen.
People have died, kids have died. We're still finding people out here. We have to rebuild because what else do we have out here? We have nothing, literally.
Mm-hmm. But you know what they do have? They have each other. They have neighbors that are in Kerrville, that are in other communities that were not impacted, that want to help them. Again, this is going to be a cleanup process. It's going to take a very long time. And if you're able-bodied and if you have a chainsaw, if you want to come and work, I know that some of these communities, not just here in Hunt, but throughout the Guadalupe River, would love to get your help. You can get connected with some of those resources right now.
I mean, if I could financially afford to do it, I would go down there and help, right? But right now, I got bills, right? Bills kind of got me this month, but I'd like to help them. I just can't actually do it right now, you know, financially. But I know they need the help. But if you can go help these people. Do something good.
Save others.
One of those individuals is a man by the name of Dick Eastland, and he is known, or was known to so many in the Hill Country.
Good morning, Teddy Bear.
He was the owner and director of Camp Mystic. It's a private Christian summer camp for girls. Unfortunately, he passed away because of this tragedy. One of his family members wrote on Facebook that Eastland died trying to save some campers.
The Kerrville Daily Times also published an article on their website about this tragedy. The writer, Paige Sumner, wrote about Dick, quote, "It doesn't surprise me at all that his last act of kindness and sacrifice was working to save the lives of campers. He already saved so many lives with the gift of Camp Mystic." It's been horrifying 2 days for the community of Camp Mystic, and this morning, at least 27 young girls from that camp are.
Well, I wasn't expecting my bills to be this high this month, but I did get that swimming pool and I had to fill it. So I just got the bill for that. So that's the reason my bills are so high. Really, my bills should be about the same, but I got that above ground pool and I filled it up, and my damn water bill alone was $800. So, and I need to pay that before they turn my damn water off. So I need to still pay that. And, but that is what made my bill so high. My electric bill was higher too, but the water bill really crushed me. And, I got to take care of that before I do anything. So, but you know, if you want to play, you got to pay, I guess, you know, and I didn't think it was going to be that much.
For those families that have lost their loved ones, and that fuels our drive to continue to search for them, and we will not stop until we find every one of them.
Our cameras captured their efforts firsthand. From helicopter rescues landing at the football field at Tom Moore High School in Ingram on Friday, to buses and military vehicles carrying loads of campers to Ingram Elementary School. Dozens of girls have been rescued and reunified with their loved ones.
Oh my gosh, that is never going to get easy to watch. I know there's so many families. I think there's so many people. I have so many friends in Dallas, here, and in Houston who all know someone or know someone who knows somebody that is connected to these campers who have either been rescued, who are still missing or who have unfortunately died. We're going to really do our best to keep covering this situation, and the community also mourning the several lives that were lost as a result of these floods.
We're still learning some more this morning. Humble ISD posted late last night that they are grieving the loss of one of their staff members by the name of Jeff Wilson. This post to social media states that he worked for 30 years at both Humble High School and Kingwood Park High School. It also states that Jeff's brother-in-law says that his wife, Amber, and son, Shiloh, are still considered missing.
And this Facebook page confirms,
8:38 here on the East Coast.
Paula, are also among those who have died, and the school confirmed that Reese and his wife, Paula, were found dead.
The school is saying that this about Reese, quote, Coach Reese Zunker was not just a soccer coach, but he was a mentor, teacher, and a role model for our Kerrville kids. At this time, there's no word about their children who are still missing.
And we just talked about the director of Camp Mystic. Now, another camp director also confirmed dead by this Facebook page.
I got their money for the water bill. I just got to pay them. And I jumped in the pool before I started this stream. So I enjoy having the pool. I just didn't realize it was going to cost me so much to fill it. I wasn't prepared for it.
Seriously impacted is Center Point, Texas, where floods caused routes and roads to close down.
Our Zaria Oates brings us an update on the situation out there.
We're out in Center Point, Texas, which is downstream southeast of the Kerrville area where those horrific floods came through on July 4th. Right now, we're standing on FM 480, which is a bridge that
they don't do that here. They don't adjust your bill.
This area, the floodwaters actually rose above this bridge, so much so that this is the debris that we're seeing.
Your neighbor's
on
house.
top of the bridge. If you can look down here.
My neighbors ain't close. I would need a long ass hose. But yeah, you're right, Greg. Next time I'm going to tap into my neighbor's house. That's the shit of what I done. They've been like, why is that hose running from my house? But my neighbor did help. So it would have been hard to steal my neighbor's water because he has an excavator and I needed to flatten the ground to put the pool. So, cause it was like, it needed to be graded and I don't do grade work, but my neighbor does. He has a what is it? A Bobcat? Cause he does masonry, bricklaying and stuff. So he brought his Bobcat over and flattened everything out for me, smoothed out the ground. So I couldn't get him to do that and take his water. Yeah. So
just through those areas. We're working as hard as we can to find people and return them to their families. And we're not going to stop until we do that.
Search and rescue missions will continue.
My neighbors across the street, I don't have any neighbors to the left or right of me. I don't have no neighbors around me. So the only one is across the street. So, and he's really cool. I wouldn't steal his water.
Thank you. It's 740 and 76 degrees. Still ahead on GMSA recovery efforts underway across the Hill Country. How the community is getting involved.
And yeah, and he works on my cars for me because he's a mechanic on the side. So I couldn't take his water. Tap right into his line, right? But yeah, so he helps me out a lot as it is. I got a pretty good neighbor, so I can't take his water. Now I can run one down the street a little ways. I got this one neighbor down the road. He likes to put his trash cans way out in the street. I could take some of his water. Do they have water trucks there? I don't know. I guess you could find water trucks, but time you did that, you're still going to pay about the same amount of money. Yeah, dude's a handyman. Well, he works as a masonry contractor, and on the side, he's a mechanic. So he works on cars. So I always got he's worked on almost all my vehicles for me. So it's convenient. And he's pretty fair priced on it. So I use him for, my mechanic work and things like that. So, but he's my only neighbor, across from me. And then if I go down a little ways, there's, houses next to each other, but our houses kind of sit by themselves. So the fire hydrant thing, there's a fire hydrant down the street. I did think about that. You know what I'm saying? I just don't have a big fire hydrant hose. But don't think that didn't cross my mind when I had to fill that pool. I was like, oh, there's a fire hydrant down here. It'd be like California. You tap into the fire hydrant, no water come out. You know what I'm saying? It'd be like, we didn't pay the water bill either. But, you know, there's people with bigger problems than my water bill. I can tell you that. The damn people in Texas, in these families that are going through it, it makes my water bill not seem so bad, you know, like, you know, it could be worse. I could be underwater like some of these people, and instead of in the water, you know, I'm swimming around, you know, doing laps this morning, and it could be way worse for me. So I really got it good. I can't bitch too much, you know. We get the fire department. They don't do that here. I Googled it. Somebody told me that, and I looked, and they don't do that. Dolly, you have to call the city so they can adjust the bill. You need, yeah, they won't do that. They won't do that. They ain't trying to hear that shit. Matter of fact, I got the city on my back right now about building that tiki bar. They said, matter of fact, tomorrow I got to go down to the city, pay them $200 for a permit. I can't stand this city. I can't stand it. I swear they are the moneyest grubbing ass place you can humanly live. Don't move to Virginia. Okay? 2 days after I built the tiki bar, there was a letter in my mailbox. 2 days after I built it. Talking about you erected a structure without a permit. Okay? I couldn't believe it. Were they flying drones over my house? Now that's $200.
To give us that perspective of what you guys were seeing on the ground. So again, this is our KSAT Connect webpage at this time. Some of the pictures you sent in are just amazing.
This is the boat ramp at Canyon Lake, and I know this is basically where
damn Commonwealth.
Sarah have been talking about. This is where a lot of that water going down the Guadalupe was going to end up, and you could just see the amount.
No, nobody reported me. It was okay because I got a permit to build a fence and to fix my deck, but really I rebuilt the deck. But I said I was just fixing it. So they did a routine inspection and seen the tiki bar. Nobody told on me. There ain't nobody back here really to tell on me. But it said in the letter it was a routine inspection and that they seen the tiki bar and I erected a structure without a permit and to avoid any further problems to get a permit. Now I had a permit for the fence and the porch, but I didn't have a permit for the tiki bar. All right. Yeah, you got to have a permit. I didn't even build the fence. I replaced some fence. And anytime you put up any new structure, permit, $200. City, Commonwealth of Virginia don't play. It sucks. It sucks.
5E. So this is another river road.
No, I don't think they're watching my channel.
So most of these pictures are from the Seguin area.
Yeah.
Yesterday that was under that flood warning.
Got one coming from CG56 and then something from Spring.
I need to sell some soap. Buy DollySoap.com. Okay.
Cabins at Camp Mystic, most of the cabins that belong to the little girls. These were stone structures, okay?
Yeah.
That are like very, very old, sturdy built structures, and you can see the devastation there and how close they were to the river and how high that water was at these cabins at one point.
Yes.
So thank you for sending us those photos, and please continue to do so safely. Like Jeff said, it really helps put all of this in perspective, Sarah. And but we're still very, very concerned about the Hill Country throughout today and tomorrow.
Hill Country, San Antonio metro area, because we're under a flash flood watch now until 7 p.m., meaning we're watching out for flooding. Those pictures and videos, though, that you sent of all of the debris, I think this is important to note. Even though the flooding of the Guadalupe has gone down, the stream flow is still very strong.
What part of Kelly Sue? any structure, you erect any structure, you need a permit. Anything. You build a doghouse, you need a permit. I shit you not. It used not to be like that. You could build anything long as it was under 12 by 12. So say if you built a shed and it was 10 by 10, you didn't need a permit. Now, new law, anything that you put up, I don't give a damn if it's one piece of fence board, you need a permit for everything you do. It is crazy. It's just a money grab. I don't know who voted these people into office here where I'm at, but it's just a way for them to take your money, right? Like I had a permit for the fence in the deck. What's the difference, right? I done paid you $200. Why don't you just let me build what I want to build? No, it wasn't on the because I didn't know I was going to build a tiki bar when I first got the permit, and you're supposed to get a permit for everything you do. So I told them, I said, well, I'm not building a deck. I'm repairing the deck. And they say, all right, well, we'll let you get away with no permit on the deck. All right. Cause since you're just repairing it, really, I left one board, tore the whole deck down, built a brand new deck and left one old board. So I told them I'm repairing it. Right. I just repaired it. Everything else was bad except for that one board. But I just told them, I said, I'm just repairing the porch. They were like, okay, well, we'll let you slide on the permit for the porch because you got to get one for the fence. You got to get one for the porch. You got to get one for the tiki bar. So I got the one. And then, so when they sent me the letter, they didn't say nothing about the deck. So I was thinking, okay, you know, they know I left that one old board just in case, right? I was like, they say some shit. I got this old board. I'll be showing the city inspector, be like, look, you see that old ass board right there? Everything else was bad. I left that board because that was the only good board. But it was just me trying to save $200, right? So then, as soon as I built the tiki, they got me. They got their money either way. It's like, I don't know. They built this brand new courthouse and shit with all these nice windows in it, and I know I at least paid for one of those windows, right? Because we need God. Okay, yeah, you're right. I need a lotto ticket is what I need. So, anybody got the winning numbers? Let me get those. Yeah, even the bird bath, Dan, they want every dime. You know, the crazy thing is, we got this bird feeder PJ wants me to hang, right? I'm almost scared to hang that thing. They be like, did you put a bird feeder up? Did you get a permit for that bird feeder? And like, I bought it at Lowe's. Do you need a permit for it? I don't know. I'm scared. Be like, we're going to have to hide the bird feeder.
Can't find these kids in TN, but knows Dolly built a tiki bar, rolling on the floor laughing emoji.
They need to send Virginia inspectors down there. They'll find everybody. Okay. They'd be like, you got a building permit to be pushing these trees into a pile. Okay. It looks like you're building a structure with these trees. City around here be trying to find Mother Nature. Okay. They'd be like, Mother Nature, you didn't get a building permit to stack these trees in a pile. Yeah. I don't know. They must have drones or some fucking spy satellite. Stop self-snitching. I mean, they don't watch the channel. You know what I'm saying? They don't watch the channel. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'll give them their money. I mean, I'm going to have to, because what they do, if you don't give them the money, they take you to court, right? And then you have to pay for the building permit and you have to pay court costs, and court costs is another $200. So if you don't give them the $200, it'll cost you $400. They know it's horrible. It's horrible. And it's the same old guy every time. Every time. I don't know if he personally got something against me, right? Or what, but he just must be bored and must hang out on this road because it's a dead end. And, you know, every now and then I'll see city cars parked at the end of the road. And I don't know if he's just watching or what, or he just don't like my face. Why are you in court, Perfect? I'm not in court. If I don't give them money for the permit, they'll take me to court. That's next. They tell you, get the permit. They told me by 4 days ago, but I'm going to go get it and try to talk to the inspector while I'm there. Because you got to go to the inspector's office to get the permit. The dude that wrote me the damn, he wrote me a letter. He didn't hit me with a fine. Right. So the fine's coming next. And I know what that's going to be. It's going to be $250 and you need the permit. So I'm trying to avoid that. So first thing Monday morning, I'll be down there getting that permit and, then I'm going to build on to it. I'm going to build me a house connected to it. I'll be like, hey, that's part of the tiki bar, bro. So yeah, that's how my month's going. Okay. They hit me with everything at once. I would fight it because the tiki bar is smaller than the requirements. No, any structure is the law now. Anything, it don't matter. If you nail a board up, you put a fence post in your yard, a mailbox, that is considered a structure. OnlyFans? Okay. I'm going to join Only Ugly, right? Anybody want to join my Only Ugly? I don't think I'm going to make much money on OnlyFans. Okay. I don't think that's going to be the career choice for me right there. You should offer the inspector a few drinks in your tiki bar. Yeah. I don't know if that's going to work. He looked like an old Christian man, so I don't think that's going to work. He don't look like he want to hang out with me, I already had one run-in with him about the fence. He took me to court over the fence. And I went in there and went off over the fence because they fined me like $500 on the fence. Because I guess I didn't pay the first fine, no mind. So they hit me with the second one. And then by the time I got the second one, I was on a rampage. I went into the courtroom on fire, boy. I said, look, I could have had a fence company come out and put the fucking fence up cheaper, right? Than what y'all are fining me for putting up a piece of fence. I was like, I didn't even put up a new fence. I repaired the old fence. I said, the city hit me up and said they wanted the fence repaired. I repaired it. Now y'all done hit me with a $500 fine. And then the judge was like, well, did you get a building permit? Are you going to get the building permit? And I was like, yeah. He was like, all right, well, make sure you pay the fine when you get the permit. So then it cost me $700 to put up the fence. So you can't win. You can't win. You just gotta, it's like being extorted by the mob.
And help. And one thing that you at home can do is consider donating some blood. Here is all of that information from the South Texas Blood and Tissue. Walk-ins are welcome, but you can always schedule an appointment online.
And AT&T has also deployed a mobile connectivity center. It is free and aims to help support those affected by the floods with access.
I have a privacy fence stage. That's what I put up. Okay, that's what I put up. But I mean, my yard is a couple acres. It's big. So there's some spots that in the back, there's no fence, but there's woods you can't see. Down the side, near the orchard, there's one little space where you can see into my yard. And I'm going to put a piece of fence up there before it's all said and done. But they got me. It's all about the money. Yeah. And city inspectors here, they can walk up on your property. They don't even need like a warrant or anything. They can walk right up in your yard. They can walk right around, look around. And then once they own you, they stay on you. Right. And that's the problem.
Who's faster, a cheetah or one of the fastest cars in the world?
They probably would have never noticed. What happened? All right, we don't want to show Mr. Beast. We don't want to get a copyright strike. If I hadn't had them already on me over the fence situation, this probably would have never happened. They would have never noticed. But I ain't trying to turn it into a damn 3-hour me complaining about the city when, there's a lot of stuff still going on with these floods. Let's jump over here. Everything got a damn commercial. Here we go.
Kind of pulling the debris.
We have a whole lot of folks that have volunteered equipment. We've cleared out the North Fork of the river with volunteer equipment. We're working our way up here. Been working with K-Pub and TxDOT on just what to do with the debris.
You're right, Greg. That's what I should do.
Open so that 2 lanes are passable. That's really what our biggest effort is right now.
No, Paula, they can come on your property.
Got the 2 local churches set up for food and food donations and that kind of stuff. We're letting them take care of that, and we're just trying to make the best of what we got.
So, everyone also, one of the big questions right now is how can I help out? So these are some of the things and locations where you can go. The Cross Kingdom Church on Junction Highway in Kerrville is accepting donations of clothing, non-perishable food, along with toiletries. Many of you have been asking how you can help out. So emergency responders in Kerrville, they say they do have what they need for the rescue efforts. But
I mean, calling the news ain't going to do much good because that's the law. The law states you build any structure, you need a building permit. So, I mean, what's the news going to say? The news will be like, get a building permit, dude. You know what I'm saying? You can't win. I live in a Commonwealth state, and I just don't have any wealth. Everybody else does. I just don't.
To help with those cleanup efforts.
And I know we have a lot of churches here in San Antonio as well that are gathering support also because, authorities still asking that if you don't have to be in that area, they still want people to stay away, right? So if you're wanting to help in that tangible way, obviously the monetary donations are going to go a long way. But also, as you head into church this morning, those of you who will be attending services, you can check in with them and see what they're doing as well and kind of gather so that it can be delivered later on. We're going to need help for a long time.
Yeah.
And well, it's not that common, dude. Yeah.
Coverage continuing this morning. We have crews all over the Kerrville, the Hunt area, including our Destiny Fuller. So she's live right now. I believe you've landed in Kerrville. Is that correct, Destiny?
Yeah, that's right. We are in Kerrville. We're at the Trinity Baptist Church, and this is said to be one of the many reunification centers. We were also at the Calvary Temple Church. That's a reunification center as well. But I will tell you, there's not that much information available because we got here at the same time as a lot of the law enforcement. I'm not sure if you can see the many cars that are starting to fill this parking lot here, but a lot of them are just getting here. One of those is a DPS trooper.
Okay, Patrick, never say that name in this chat room. Them people are the biggest con scams ever in the history of man. The last run-in I had with them, they threatened to put me in jail while they sat on their ass and didn't do nothing. That is the biggest let me collect money and not do shit organization. Now there's different ones because that name is used by multiple organizations. And there's a legit one, and then there's a couple bullshit ones. And anybody remember the whole Riley Strand, Sebastian Rogers situation? I call them the Raging Cajuns. Fuck them dudes. Yep, I said it. Scams, in my opinion. All I'm saying. I wouldn't, if they come in, they ain't going to do shit. They're going to ride around on their boats.
In the Kerrville area with some of them being found after the destruction. So they say that if your pets need any sort of help, such as medical care, food, you can reach out to them. That number, 830-200-0539. And if you would like to make also a donation to Kerrville Pets Alive, you can do so at their website. And we do have that link for you at foxsanantonio.com.
Like I said, the legitimate Ragens, right? are good people and they do the right thing. It's some of them, like I said, that name is used by multiple organizations. You can look it up. And the original ones are good. And then there's people that use that name and then they swear they're a nonprofit. But I think they're more for profit than anything. And my run-in with them was they were asking for help. I showed up to help. They cussed me out, wanted to act like they wanted to fight, try to call the police. They called the police on JLR. They were talking about, we'll have you arrested. And like, y'all were asking for help to find a missing kid. And now y'all out here making threats, you know, and acting like an ass. And you know what they need it from the public? Which one of those Cajun groups is the crappy one? The ones that were down there looking for Sebastian Rogers. They're the crappy ones. That's what I'm saying. There's a few groups that use that name, which they need to stop that from happening because it makes the good group look bad, you know, and you got these bad people out there doing these things. And all they really want to do is get on the media. That's what they did in Riley Strain. Now, this is all just my opinion, entertainment purposes only. We talk news, rumors, gossip, speculation, theories, mixed with a little bit of comedy and chaos. So don't take nothing as fact. Just my opinion, completely satire.
Dolly, they needed chairs.
They needed chairs. April C knows to ask the public. They said, we need your help. We need chairs. Is it the United one? Okay. They said, you know, instead of needing volunteers and searchers, they needed chairs. You're searching for a missing kid. What do you need to sit down for? Find the fucking kid. Okay. Find the kid. You ain't getting no chairs. I think they were mad at me because I didn't bring a chair. I don't know what it was. I showed up with no chair. They were like, F you, dude. I think there was a non-reputable one. I guess so. I hope that ain't the reputable one. We all in trouble, right? If you in the alligator swamp land, you in trouble with them dudes. I couldn't believe how rude and just asshole-ish they were. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Okay, if they're the ones that showed up, and I just hope it ain't the ones that showed up in damn Hendersonville. Oh my God, them dudes were nothing but a joke. I thought Cajun people are usually nice too. These ones were just not nice. They damn sure didn't like YouTubers. I know that. What are you doing here? Like, what do you think I'm doing? What are you doing here? That was a wasted trip for you. It wasn't wasted. I got a lot done. I got to see the area. I got to drone everything. I got to talk to the locals. I did some sleuthing. You know, I made the best out of it. I went down there to help. You know what really sucked, Deborah, is, you know, when I travel, I don't carry a lot because, you know, the airplane companies charge so much money to bring a damn bag with you. So what I did was I brought my carry-on and I had my snake boots. They wouldn't fit in the carry-on. So I tied the strings together and I threw them around my neck. So I kind of wore them. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're wearing it, you're good. And if you got a carry-on, you're good. So they didn't charge me for my boots, right? So, but the sucky thing is I had these damn things hanging from my neck from Virginia all the way to Tennessee on the plane, you know, and I got these big ass boots sitting on me and they're hanging on my neck. I had to do it there and back. And I didn't even use them. Yeah, I tied the strings together and I had them hanging around my neck, like, you know, one boot here, and the strings kind of holding them there. And I walked, you know, and I had my one carry-on bag. So I didn't get charged because the boots wouldn't fit in my carry-on. Now I couldn't just wear boots and no tennis shoes. I guess I could have put the boots on and my tennis shoes in my carry-on, but that's how I did it. And it just sucked because I had these boots sitting on my lap the whole damn flight. To get there and not need them. I think that's probably what made me so angry is that's what pissed me probably off the most is just something that simple. But I made that sacrifice to help and then get there and they don't really want your help. That's what was so bad about it for anybody that's just wondering. I got some complaints today, don't I? I got some damn complaints. Dolly, you always almost fell asleep behind the wheel of the car. That was the second time, wasn't it? Or was that the first time? I think that was the second time. Yeah, I almost fell asleep. Damn sure. I was about nodding off and then I caught myself. Thank God Jesus was looking out for me. But I was on like a little back road and I was getting tired. I was really tired. And but I made it back to my hotel fine. I was good. I was just I kind of blinked, I think, for a little extra long second. It's like one of those. And people are like, Dolly, you fell asleep. And I was like, I didn't fall asleep. I just blinked a long blink. It was like a long blink. It was like a 2-second blink, like, you know what I'm saying? But I was tired. And then I instantly went to the hotel, which my hotel was a few miles down the road. I didn't fall asleep on the ride back to the hotel. But I went to the hotel and slept for like 10 hours. They just wanted my chair. Yeah. So, yeah, that sucked.
Had a heavier rainfall once again, flooding low-lying areas, and just the fact that so much of the area is saturated. I mean, just look at that. Driving through, your yards are flooded. Greg caught this one after heavy rainfall came in from Seguin and went into Schertz and Cibolo yesterday, and then, of course, up into the New Braunfels area. So there's that as we continue to look around with some of the other pictures and videos that you've sent on in. There's obviously a flood gauge. Those are very, very helpful as 4 feet of rushing water, very serious heavy rainfall there. And then
thank you, Greg.
Look at all that torrent of water just rushing downhill. I believe this is up near the New Braunfels area.
I didn't fall asleep. I almost fell asleep. Right.
Rodney Winters has sent a bunch of pictures that he captured yesterday. You could exit out of that. Just hit the X button, and I know there's if you scroll on down just a little bit more so. Yeah, go to the next page. Let's go to the next page.
Plus, that car had lane assist. I was good.
so much. By the way, this is the water that's been coming into Canyon Lake. Canyon Lake is up more than 10 feet now, and that is the headwaters of the Guadalupe rushing into.
I mean, if I would have actually fell asleep, I'd have been in a tree. You know what I'm saying? It was just a long extended blink for like, it couldn't have been no more than a second, because I even watched it back on the video. I was tired, and I did kind of blink for a hot second, like it was extended. I admit that, but I was good, and I made it back to the room, so nothing happened. No harm, no foul.
From your perspective, and it's been kind of wild. Here's a wild scene. Looks like somebody's security cam there. Okay, in New Braunfels. So it's amazing to see how quick the river rose.
I was not snoring. I totally was not snoring. That's fabrication right there. That's misinformation. I know it was about a second and a half blink. Like it was, you could tell I was definitely getting tired, and it was getting unsafe, and I caught myself too. I was like, okay, I need to get back to the hotel.
Waves of rushing water. So, yeah, so lots of very heavy rainfall, of course. And, if you want to share your images, you go to our Fox San Antonio page.
I was about to go full Brittany J, head first into the microphone.
Pictures, or scan the QR code there and upload what you're seeing. But first priority is be safe. It is not safe along the river right now. Lots of debris.
Oh, I did. When I started to get tired like that, I did stop driving. I immediately went to my hotel room and went to sleep. It was during the day because I had flown in and had been searching. It was just a long day, and I was getting tired. and I was just pushing myself too hard. And then I drove to the hotel room and went to sleep. So it ain't as bad as people are making it sound, but I was definitely, I needed rest. I heard that call from Snoozy Poon. Yeah, I ain't done nothing like that.
Celebrities like Shakira. So you may remember she had a show in San Antonio that was canceled. Well, it was rescheduled for last night at the Alamo Dome, and she opened with a dedication to the Hill Country flood victims. Now, Shakira has also pledged to donate a portion of the proceeds from the concert to Catholic Charities of San Antonio. So Catholic Charities has now set up a relief effort to help with families and the Kerrville, the Hunt community. And, you know, again, I went to Mystic as a child, and that's where I was introduced to Shakira. Yes.
At camp.
We love some Estoy Aquí back in 97. Yeah.
Wow.
I know. I wish I could find the old mixtape in which that was the highlight for sure. So Shakira probably doesn't know it, but she has tremendous fans at Camp Mystic and has for decades. So it's coming kind of full circle in a kind of bigger way than what she probably realizes. So thank you for that.
Shakira.
A lot of other people ask about how they can help, and we've talked about it throughout the show, but you can also find a complete list on our website as well.
No, I haven't got any tornado warnings. Not lately.
We'll be right back.
Okay. A lot of damn commercials, boy. Cletus made a song, Wake Up Little Snoozy. Wake Up Little Snoozy. Them crime channels are too much. I just ain't had time lately to keep up with it. You know what I'm saying? They just all seem to fight with each other. But some of it's funny sometimes, you know. Yeah. And you know, even PJ tells me, she's like, you go too hard. Like, you act like you're a teenager. You just go. But then when I do crash, I crash. Like, I mean, I sleep a long time. Like, when my body finally shuts down, because I'm one of those people, like, if I'm not dead tired, I can't sleep. I have to be exhausted to sleep good. Now, if I ain't exhausted, I'll sleep, but this light sleep, waking up, tossing and turning. But when I'm exhausted, I sleep like a baby. I'm talking about drooling on the pillow, the whole nine. I mean, I get it in. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, have dead sleep. And that's the type of sleep that I like. And believe it or not, like, I feel so much better when I wake up than where if I go to bed like a normal person, get regular sleep. I lightly sleep and I'm tossing and turning and having weird ass dreams. But if I'm exhausted when I go to bed, I'm out. Like, I don't know what realm I go into, the damn dead realm or something. I'm done. And I sleep solid. So I tend to go. And then when my body finally shuts down, I sleep really hard. So it just seems to work better for me. But PJ, she's always like, you don't need to do that. You need to take better care of yourself. You need to get the right amount of sleep. And
Good morning. It is 7 a.m. on this Sunday. Normally, we would not be covering, or we would not have a broadcast, but of course, we are in a trying time, a difficult time. But of course, we're also looking for the light in the midst of all of this, but we continue our coverage of the catastrophic flooding that we have been following since the 4th of July, and all of the developments that are still unfolding this morning in the Texas Hill Country. But the governor has declared today a day of prayer throughout the state. The latest information was released last night, but the next press conference is set for
8 months.
But here's what we know right now.
Carly,
so 51 people are confirmed dead. Of those, 15 are children, and that is not necessarily counting the 27 girls that are still missing from Mystic Camp. We also know that over 800
I have fallen asleep
people were
watching your
either
late
rescued
nights.
or
Smiley face
evacuated.
emoji.
And so that's a lot of people that are affected by this.
I'd fall asleep watching me too. I'll put you slam to sleep.
To get another update later this morning around 10 a.m. We are going to bring that to you live when it comes down. But in the meantime, the information that we have now is so staggering.
Yeah.
We've been talking a lot about how people can help, and there are a lot of ways. And there's the immediate help that we need now. There's help that we will need weeks and months from now as well. I know that people have been asking for blood donations as well.
Yeah.
And so that's another thing that you can do to help, since people are still, authorities want people to stay out of that area still. Yeah. So it's kind of one of those things that you can do while still leaving rescuers room to do what they need to do in that area. And from where you are, you can help that way. There's the donations. We have Jordan Elder out there.
Yeah, so Jordan has been trying to make her way.
Am I going to cover this Savannah Soto when they go to court? I'm not positive. It all depends on what I got going on at the time. I know we got Stephen Stearns coming up, and I'm going to be in Florida for that. So I don't know.
She was here for the entire event. She said water went up 2 feet into her house, which is significantly uphill from where we are right now. So, Lorena,
thank you, Greg.
Where we're standing right now. What used to be here? What used to be in this area?
One of the most beautiful RV parks there is. I mean, we had this was full of RVs all the way down there with retention walls, 200-year-old trees. They just got uprooted and they're gone. Everything is just gone, and it was just a horrific night.
So walk me through it. Obviously, you started to hear the rainfall. You said it was very loud. When did you know that this was?
I'm going to go down there to the first first trial. I think he's going to take a plea for the murder.
Closed the restaurant around 1 o'clock. That's when we locked the doors, and it started to rain at that point, but it was just a good shower, it started to rain really heavy. I went home, I took a shower, but
good morning, Erica.
It kept raining. I started to get worried, so I drove all the way down to the edge of the water, and it was fine. It was absolutely fine. I called the sheriff's department. I asked if I needed to evacuate. They said they had no information at that point, and
wow.
Okay. It hadn't been that much rain at that point, and usually rain keeps going, so I went to bed, and at 3:30, the lights of the rescue team, they were like everywhere, and my husband and I ran down here and started looking to see the water was already a good 10 feet up. At that point, and it kept on rising so fast. We were able to get everybody to safety except for a family of 5 that was stuck on the island. They were parked right by the trees, by the water, with 3 little kids, and the rescue team tried so hard to get them out, but they just couldn't. The waters, it was just crazy. We had probably maybe 20 minutes to get everybody here out before we had to evacuate the restaurant as well. We had to leave because the water went all the way to the deck, and probably in about 40 minutes we had 30 feet of water.
They couldn't even rescue the people.
We're
Damn.
continue speaking with Lorena. We're going to wrap it up here, though. We're going to send it back to you guys in studio again. This was the Blue Oak RV Park. There are restaurants in this area completely devastated by the flooding that we saw.
Thank you, Jordan. And right now, you've seen the pictures of the devastation of Camp Mystic, but this is the Camp Mystic that I remember. These are some photos from about 3 years ago. They had a camp reunion where the older campers can come back for a weekend. This is the view from the top of Sky High, one of the hills that some of the girls climbed when they sought higher ground. And that right there is Cypress Creek, which feeds into the Guadalupe River, another waterway that runs through the camp right here. But you can just see how beautiful it is and how peaceful it is. That right there is Chapel Hill, where girls would have been gathering later this evening on a Sunday, dressed in all white, coming together. And I know that's what they're thinking. You know, whenever your routine is disrupted, your head goes to, oh, I would be doing this at this time, you know. And so on a typical Sunday at Mystic, you get to sleep in, so that's always a treat. And I think it's around 10:30, everyone would be going down to the riverfront for the services there. Later, there would be Vespers on the Chapel Hill, where we saw the cross overlooking the camp. And the lunch is always the same on a Sunday. It is always fried chicken, and you have mashed potatoes and gravy, and you have biscuits as well. And,
sounds good.
You know, we've talked about how it's very traditional. You know, the girls aren't going to have any cell phones or anything like that. They're going to be sending letters to mom and dad. And to make sure that the girls always wrote at least one letter a week, you they called it a chicken letter. So when you go to lunch on Sunday, because it's fried chicken is always served, you would have to submit a letter at the entrance in order to be allowed in. So, yeah, you hear the announcements of everyone grab their chicken letters, always making sure that they were still in communication with mom and dad right there. But I'm glad I'm able to show some of the beauty of it, because you know, anytime we see,
I'm kind of hungry. I'm about to write me a chicken letter. Damn, mashed potatoes and gravy. Damn, I'm about ready to go to camp. I'm over here starving. Ain't even ate breakfast.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place in so many different ways. And one of the hardest things, I think, for not even just the Mystic community, but the Kerrville community, the Hunt community, who the Eastland family is the very much beloved members of the community.
Who's buying me some chicken? I'm going to send you a letter. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Dick Eastland.
I want a 6-piece with a biscuit.
Trying to.
I can't eat fried food anyway. You know, I used to.
All of us have been talking about it, kind of one-on-one. There's Sweet Dick right there. I just love him. And in just in community.
I don't know why that sounded so weird and she said that.
Knew it.
Oh.
But you didn't want to say it because maybe then
She just love it.
You know, it wouldn't be true.
She just loves sweet.
But, I can hear Dick in my head telling the girl.
I don't know why that's so funny to me.
And just hear him saying, "Come on, girls, come on!" You know, because from what I understand, he was trying to load as many up in a truck as possible. But the Washington Post had been reporting that the Kerr County judge.
Stop letting this girl talk. Okay, somebody shut her up. Oh Lord, what she just said is kind of scarring.
And my love to the Eastlands and Tweety, his wife. Just wonderful people, and it's one of the hard things, but we're gonna try.
They sounded dirty to me too.
Dick was the best, and that's what he says. Yeah. But you know,
shut up, woman.
Holding out for hope for the continued search of the other children. So 27 children do remain missing from Camp Mystic, and that number could have been so much higher. But Dick,
she about to break community guideline rules
to make sure that. It's truly unbelievable how many did survive, looking at the damage that we saw and how high the water got. And we all know how in these flash flooding situations, you have no time to respond. And the fact that they were able to get out so many people to higher ground is amazing. And, you know, we're hearing these heroic stories of what some of these little girls were able to do as young as 8 years old. And here's something that Congressman.
I didn't say it. She did. Thank you for subbing up.
I got a call and an update this morning. My kid's school, there was one of their schoolmates was missing, and was one of the kids. She was on a mattress for 2 or 3 hours in the middle of the night, and you know, she's united with her mom, and that's wonderful. And those are the kind of blessings that we should be celebrating, while we're also mourning the loss of life as we identify those that didn't make it.
And you know, listening to you talk about Dick and what a special person he was. He's one of the few people that has been identified so far. We know, again, still 51 people have been killed.
And he wasn't the only camp director who died trying to save the girls.
This is one of the other camp directors. This was a director of Heart of the Hills. Her name was Jane Ragsdale. And she was a counselor back in the 70s, and then she became the director in the 80s. She's being remembered as well as someone who touched so many lives. My mother-in-law grew up going to that camp, knew her.
I hope she didn't grow up touching. I'm going to shut up. I'm just going to shut up while I'm ahead. I'm going to stop. Her choice of words is like, they have the D on their mind. Okay. They just have D on their mind. That's all it is to it.
See the joy on her face. That's what she radiated always. And so that is another person that we've lost in this. And again, that was Heart of the Hills camp. That camp was not in session.
Right.
And so we don't have any campers affected there. But, well, they are affected because they just lost someone very important to them.
Dick Eastland and Jane Ragsdale, you are being remembered, so beloved. We're going to continue our coverage, but right now we're going to take a break. So stick around as new information continues to come in.
Okay. All right. That girl there she was something else. Okay. She was something else. Like, fire that lady. Okay. It's like producers going, sweet what? Sweet what? On you, he's on your mind. What the hell? She just sounded dirty, right? I mean, I understand what she's saying. It was probably a good man, and she could have said that. Okay, she didn't have to act like they were on first name basis and shit, right? That was a little too much. Okay, a little bit too much for my ears over here. Okay, I was just thinking that. And how many times can you say it in one paragraph? You love my laugh. Well, thank you. Okay, guys. Well, I think that's enough talk about the D for me today. I think I'm gonna get ready to get out of here and go to sleep. Okay, I'm gonna go to sleep for a few hours, catch some rest. Dolly got them virgin ears. I couldn't take it. It was too rated R for me. Okay, too rated R for me. I can't. All right. I told PJ I won't say nothing crazy. I said, I promise you I won't say anything crazy. So I can't, and I won't. So you guys be good. Y'all have a great rest of your day. There's a press conference in probably like 30, 45 minutes, I believe. Well, no, they're an hour back. So it's probably about an hour and a half away from now. And I don't think I'm going to make it that long. Okay. I'm going to nod off like Brittany J over here. All right. Y'all don't want that. And it really ain't. So it's just a long blink. Okay. The damn long blinks get you every time. I'll see you guys later tonight. I'll be back later tonight to talk about Jack and Lily Sullivan that's missing from Nova Scotia. So make sure y'all tune in to that. Now, if anything crazy breaks today, I'll talk about that a little bit too when I get back later this evening. So I'll see you guys tonight. You know, I'll say about 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Until then, be safe, be good. Buy DollySoap.com. Wash your butt cracks. Okay, with best soap in the world, made by Dolly. Lotions, body washes, t-shirts. So make sure you check it out. Buy DollySoap.com. And remember this: if nobody else loves you, Dolly does. Peace, guys.